It's not that easy being green.
Star Trek has always brought awareness to social inequalities through masterful storytelling on the backdrop of our far-flung utopian future, a vision instilled by Gene Roddenberry.
Or yellow or something much more wonderful than that.
And let me be clear, woke is not the recently co-opted and weaponized stand-in for diversity, inclusion, empathy, or even blackness that many folks have recently distorted it to be. Woke is not an agenda, but simply a recognition of what is. So with awareness of social inequalities at the basis of our definition of woke, let's dive into some woke-ass episodes.
He's a liar. He raided our homes, tore us from our families, herded us together like cattle, and then sold us as slaves.
First up, Let That Be Your Last Battlefield, an episode from season 3 of the original series. Let That Be Your Last Battlefield tackles bigotry head-on. Two survivors of a planet ravaged by war are consumed by a mutual hatred based on the color of their skin.
I am black on the right side.
I fail to see the significant difference.
Lokai is white on the right side. All of his people are white on the right side.
Let That Be Your Last Battlefield highlights the frivolity of their differences and how it can decimate a society. The Enterprise finds Lokai running for his life, seeking asylum from oppression. Bill arrives with the sole purpose of bringing Lokai back to the planet Sharon for his crimes after chasing him for more than 50,000 Earth years. The crew of the Enterprise saw Lokai and Bill as two members of the same humanoid species and were somewhat befuddled by their differences. The episode culminates in the discovery of the destruction of every living being on the planet Sharon. And on a meta level, and probably as you would have guessed, the black-white makeup led to a lot of criticism as the episode being heavy-handed.
It doesn't make any sense.
Next up, The Outcast, from season 5 of The Next Generation. The episode features an androgynous race of beings called the Janai, a society where people are forced to conform to a single gender.
I am female.
The USS Enterprise is there to help the Janai find a missing shuttle. Riker begins to work around the clock with a team of Janai specialists to formulate a rescue mission, before specifically teaming up with one of the scientists, Soren, who will pilot the rescue mission into null space. And of course, Riker going Riker. Before long, Riker and Soren begin to fall for each other, while Riker attempts to grapple with his understanding of the lack of gender in the Janai people. Likewise, Riker attempts to offer some understanding of the human people to Soren. And of course, a conversation where they begin talking about their differences dives into a conversation about their mating rituals. We learn from Soren that the idea of gender is a less evolved, offensive concept to her people. And when Soren is injured and lands in sickbay, Crusher is able to deliver a heartfelt message about how women have fought for their rights over the years.
That hasn't been true for a long time.
And even challenges attitudes and expectations that are often attached to gender. Eventually, we learn that some people among the Janai are born with strong inclination to maleness or female, a condition that would be treated by her people with a psychotechnic therapy, a clear reference to how in our world, when non-conforming identities were treated as a medical condition. And when psychiatrists use medical treatments such as electroconvulsive shock, lobotomy, drugs, or even psychoanalysis to cure or prevent deviancy. The episode eventually reaches a fever pitch when Soren and Riker eventually pursue a relationship. Riker finds out that Soren's feelings have been discovered and has been placed in custody. Soren, tired of living in the shadows, makes a resounding plea of compassion and understanding to the Janai people.
I am not sick because I feel this way.
Riker's worst fears are realized when Soren is convicted and sentenced to undergo psychotechnic therapy. And after an unauthorized rescue attempt, he finds that he is already too late.
It was all a mistake.
We round things out with Far Beyond the Stars from Deep Space Nine Season 6. Far Beyond the Stars is a powerful exploration of racism in the 1950s. It features Captain Sisko in an alternate reality where he's a black science fiction writer struggling with prejudice and discrimination. The episode is framed around the hopelessness Benjamin is feeling about the war with the Cardassians. A friend of his has recently died in the war, and it seems like the Federation's fight is never ending. Far Beyond the Stars takes this premise to highlight a similar feeling of hopelessness in human history and highlight the African American struggle for equality. Ben starts to have visions, which Dr. Bashir believed could have something to do with the visions he was previously having about Bajor. The visions take him back to the 1950s America, where he lives out his life as Benny Russell, a science fiction writer struggling to get his stories published. While the social implications of this episode become pretty apparent pretty quickly, it's just awesome to see these actors doing some amazing work. Avery Brooks as writer Benny Russell, Renee Arjay-Benoit as magazine editor Douglas Papps, and other cast members Cole Meany, Armand Shimmerman, Nana Visitor, and Alex Sadig as fellow writers, Penny Johnson-Gerald as Benny's girlfriend, Michael Dorn as a Negro Baseball League player, Tigger Lofton as a streetwise hustler headed down the wrong path, and a myriad of other cast members popping up throughout the story. In this story, in this fictional universe, Benny Russell writes of an African-American commander of a space station, a story that all of his fellow writers love, but an idea that magazine editor Papps sees as unviable to his readers, distributors, publishers, and could even possibly cause a riot. The team eventually comes up with the idea of making this black commander on the space station a dream, therefore possibly changing Benny's luck that he could possibly get this thing published. Just when Benny is about to get a win, just when it seems like his luck is about to turn, the rug is pulled out from under him.
I quit. To hell with you and to hell with Stone!
The Easter eggs in this episode, the tidbits, the references to the real world, and even just the world of Deep Space Nine and the greater Star Trek universe in this episode makes this episode a true gem and an outstanding achievement. Far Beyond the Stars has been praised for its unflinching look at racism. Far Beyond the Stars may in fact be one of the wokest episodes of Star Trek ever created.
The only reason they'll ever let us in space is if they need someone to shine their shoes.
These are just a few episodes that tackle social injustice in the world of Star Trek, social inequality. There are so many more that we could have talked about. You might even have a few favorites of your own. Please do put those in the comments below. I would love to know your thoughts, even by, today's definition of woke just meaning inclusion of other people who are not cisgender white males. I think Star Trek has still always been that. Look at the original series, the diversity in cast, the diversity in stories. It's hard to have that attitude when you talk about Star Trek. Now, there are plenty other things we can talk about. The stories could be crap. The stories could not be good, especially as it relates to new Trek. I know people like to throw around the word woke, but you could say the story is not good without trying to throw hate toward a particular group of people. I just think that's unnecessary. What do you think? I'm sure you're going to let me know in the comments below. Until next time, guys.